Welcome to that short video on OKR management. This time we want to focus not on the basics of the OKR, not to be the 1001st video on what is an OKR. I assume that you all know that. This short video should be about what are the typical pitfalls and success criteria defining OKRs. If you want to look about what are the pitfalls and success criteria managing OKRs in the OKR team and in the whole organization, look at the according videos on that topic. So today we're looking at the definition of really good OKRs. Let's start with the objective. What are the typical pitfalls in the objective? I assume that you have seen my video on the input, output, outcome, and impact differences in thinking, being very result-oriented. You have to be very sharp and trained to differentiate those aspects. Just as in a nutshell, input is what we do, output is the immediate effect out of that. So if we do some training or do some process analysis, the immediate effect might be increased knowledge in the one case, and in the second case, identified process potentials. Then there is the outcome, which is the preceding effect of the impact. Might be in the one case from the revenue and the training stuff that there is an increase in the hit rate that results in impact, which might be some more revenue. And in the process example, if we analyze the process and have process potential, it might be the realized potentials, and the cost savings in the process might be the impact. So what has that to do with good OKRs? Good OKRs consist of an objective that describes very precise an outcome and or an impact. An objective has not to describe some impact, but at least an outcome. Not input, not output. So what is a bad example? A bad example that I just experienced in an automotive supplier was that they said, hey, in half a year, we are proud of having clarity of the outer European market and which customers are how attractive to us and how should we address them. Let's say that. So the overarching company objective on that is increase the outer European market share, and the objective that they described were, hey, half a year later, we are proud of having that deep knowledge of the outer European market and know how to address which customer in which way. Why is that a bad objective? It just consists of output. Because there's just a gain of insight, a gain of knowledge. You can keep in your mind that every gain in insights or knowledge or everything that is just existing after you have done your work on paper, which is the case in this very example, is just an output. And good OKRs never ever consist just of outputs. Why is that? The idea of the OKR philosophy is to be very result-oriented and producing input and or output. So just doing actions or just producing some paperwork or interesting insights is not an outcome or impact. It's not a result. Result are outcomes and or impacts. So giving the feedback to that team, they said, okay, well, you're right. And we extend the objective. You can keep output in there with an outcome to say, hey, after half a year, we have the clarity of the outer European market and know exactly which customer has to be addressed in what way. And we have at least 3 letters of intents in our hand. Here we go. Is a letter of intent an impact? No, it isn't, but it's an outcome. And that's something that you have achieved. If you look on the psychological aspects of OKR in my video on this, emotions and OKR, you will learn that human beings can just be proud on outcome and impact. And that's the psychological, emotional part of the importance of that. So that's one typical pitfall for the objective. There are 2 more that I'd like to mention here. The other important pitfall is to be too relative and too abstract. So to give you an example here, let's say the team of some process unit says, hey, we have managed to digitalize an important process that generates pain in the execution for the involved employees and different sites or places to a huge amount. Do you see any picture out of that? No. So because it is very relative. You don't know which process is improved, in which way, which employees really prosper out of that digitization, and so on and so forth. So you have to be very precise. To turn that bad example into some good objective, it might be something like, hey, after half a year, we have improved the IBOP process from actually having 70 manual work steps to at least 7 manual work steps. And there are not involved any 5 more different systems, there are just 2, which leads to an improved process performance of 21%, whatever. So I just wanted to make clear that a good objective is not relative. It describes really what is different after we've been successful. So we reduce the number of interfaces, we reduce the number of manual work steps that have to be done, and what's the impact or outcome out of that, increased satisfaction and increased process performance on that. So you do not have abstract terms in a good objective. A good objective is like a short time traveling. You step into your time machine, step out 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever might be a good time horizon for you to manage OKRs. More than 6 months doesn't make sense. Why is that? You can see that in different videos from me on that topic. And then you close your eyes and describe what you see in front of your imaginary eyes, like a movie. And you have to be very precise. Say what process has improved in which way and what really has changed from which perspective. So pitfalls in objective, it is about input or output. You describe actions or output, not outcome impact. Next thing is you're too relative. Good objectives do not contain any words like more, higher, lower, better, and you don't have relative terms. You have the license to kill relative terms. And you do not have abstract descriptions of something. There is no description of something like through improvements in the sales organizations, we increase our sales. That's really abstract nonsense. You really describe very precisely what has changed half a year later and what's exactly the effect. Facts and figures and really concrete stuff. Let's have a short look on the key results, the KRs. KRs, pitfalls here is, the first pitfall is that people say, hey, I don't get good key results. What is a key result? A key result is really a measurement term that helps you to measure progress every 2 weeks or every month, depends a little bit on the time horizon of your OKRs. So if you go 6 month wise, it's perhaps every month. If you go 3 month wise, it's bi-weekly. And it's a measurement term that tells you you're moving forward. It is not an input. That's the main pitfall in which most of the persons step into, start using OKRs. In the key result, you find things like, we defined the scope of XYZ. There is clarity on the marketing approach, relating customer group, and so on. So you describe milestones or actions that you undertake and not measurement terms. So good key results really consists of a measurement term. Let's look at a process improvement objective, whatever might be the objective. Then a key result might be number of identified process potentials. Another key result might be number of process potentials, realized process potentials. And that's it. Perhaps in the objective there is we have reduced the process, we have increased the process performance by 20% and saved costs of XYZ. And then you have those 2 key results and that you are moving forward every month, every key result. So if you do not come to good key results that fulfill this requirement, that key results are output or outcome, the objective consists of outcome and or impact, and the key result must be output or outcome, then you will have trouble to really measure your progress because you're just checking your actions that you do. That's weak OKR management. Find that in a lot of cases. This is classical project management, put into some box, close the box, write OKR on that box, and that's it. So it's not real agility, not really progress-oriented, it's action-oriented. So have 2 or 3 key results. Good OKRs do really not need more. If I see OKRs with more than 3 key results, that's always an indication of those are not really output or outcome-oriented. And then there is the golden progress rule that every key result has to grow every month. That's the idea behind the OKR philosophy, to force ourselves to be progress-oriented, not in serialized working, not first doing analysis, then having the identified potentials, then start to realize some potential. No, do this in parallel. During the analysis where you identify process potentials, you immediately start to realize some process potentials. They are running in both. And if you have 3 or 4 key results, then all 4 have to increase every cycle, be weekly or monthly. That's another really important success criteria on that. Not coming to good key results in that term, this is the feedback that I get in all my projects, is always in its root cause a lack of a good objective, a good description of the objective. If you, like we just discussed some minutes ago, have a very fuzzy, abstract, not really clear objective, then you always struggle identifying good key results. If you're very clear in your objective, the key results will jump in front of your face and you have them. So, just to summarize it very shortly, success criteria and pitfalls in OKRs, the objective, short time traveling into the future, step out, describe what you see. No relative terms, no abstract descriptions, very precise. And in the key results, and for sure, be outcome and impact oriented. No input-output. In the key result area, you can be output or outcome oriented and have measurement terms in there that measure progress, not actions. Thank you very much for your attention on that.